You hungry? Did everyone have you eating breakfast?
Testing 1, 2, 3. 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 Testing, testing. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Dumont. I'm Lewiston High School Aspirations Coordinator, and thank you for joining us tonight for the class of 2022 Life After Lewiston High School, planning your next steps after graduation. Tonight, we're going to be talking about all things post-secondary, and that includes career, college, apprenticeships, certificate programs, work, military, both the 2-year and 4-year college option. I'm part of an amazing team at Lewiston High School. We have 5 school counselors, Sarah Aschauer, Wendy Cassetta, Rachel Moore, Pete Hutchinson, and Whitney Hutchinson. And our Director of Student Services is Caitlin Urgis. And these are the people that will be working with your students, your 11th graders, as they navigate the post-secondary planning process along with myself. I want to keep in mind that this is not something that you have to wait until your senior year starts. This is something that is an ongoing process. There are some students that have already started. There are some 9th, 10th graders that are also starting with this particular process. At this time next year, your high school senior will be going through the decision-making process. By this time, the hope is that most of the seniors will have already submitted their college applications, their applications for work, whatever the case may be, whatever the choice is. And we'll go through those different options in a little bit. And they'll be making the decision. They're going to have to decide where are they going to go and what are they going to do. And that's why we're starting with this presentation tonight. Tonight, you'll notice that if you're joining us with the link that we shared on our website, on our Student Services website, on our LHS Aspirations website, and in the email, there's a chat feature on the right-hand side. And if you do have questions, students and families, please feel free to enter the questions into the chat box, and we will get to those questions throughout the night. We do have translations going on at the same time. So that's why we're using the Lexikeep platform. So this is something new. I have never used this platform before, so there may be some learning that will be going on, but it should seem pretty seamless, or at least I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Tonight, we have representatives from all of these institutions, from Bates College, Central Maine Community College, Maine College of Health Professions, St. Anselm's College in New Hampshire, Associated General Contractors of Maine, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, University of Southern Maine, the Maine National Guard, Maine Army National Guard, the Maine Air National Guard, Thomas College, University of Maine Augusta, the University of Maine, University of New England, and the University of New Hampshire. So we'll have representatives here, and I don't believe I left anybody out, but if I did, we will see them in about 20 minutes or so. So what are your options after high school? As I said a little bit earlier, there are plenty of options after high school, and some students may already know where they want to go and what they want to do, and others are still thinking about, well, do I want to go to college? Do I want to go to a community college? Do I want to go straight into the workforce? Do I want to join the military? Do I want to join the military and go to college? So I'm going to share 4 different videos with you right now, and then we'll talk about what those options are in greater detail. And my hope is that you're able to hear this. Okay, so I'm going to pause this video for a moment. Let's see. Let me stop my screen share. Share the screen. Okay, so I'm going to bypass these videos for now. I wish I could tell you why. Sound is not working. I have all the microphones on. So the good news is you can hear me. Sharing just for a moment. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Okay, so that's the first video that I will share. And let's go back to... We'll hear what an apprenticeship is.
Apprenticeship is a post-secondary learning option for individuals interested in learning a skilled trade. Apprentices work as electricians, carpenters, plumbers, cooks, and mechanics in the construction, manufacturing, transportation, and service sectors. Apprentices spend 80% of their time learning on the job from a mentor, and 20%. Apprenticeship is a post-secondary learning option for individuals interested in learning a skilled trade. Apprentices work as electricians, carpenters, plumbers, cooks, and mechanics in the construction, manufacturing, transportation, and service sectors. Apprentices spend 80% of their time learning on the job from a mentor, and 20% learning at school or a union training center. Apprentices accumulate hours when working on the job and complete training levels over a 2 to 4 year period. At the end, apprentices write a multiple choice examination, and those who pass become fully certified journey persons. There are plenty of full-time employment opportunities in the skilled trades. Journey persons are retiring, and young people are required to replace them. Right now, employers are looking to hire apprentices in trades such as millwright, industrial mechanic, carpenter, and heavy-duty equipment mechanic trades. Employers provided this advice to young people who wish to prepare for an apprenticeship. 1. Take math and science courses. Knowledge of math and science will help you when learning a trade. Employers recommend taking grade 11 and 12 math and science courses. Tutors and online resources are available if you require additional help. If available at your school, take a trades and technology or shop class and learn to apply math and science concepts in practical ways. The majority of employers require apprentices to have a high school diploma. 2. Get your driver's license. Employers expect apprentices to have a driver's license. 3. Take safety courses. Take safety courses such as first aid so you can work safely on work sites. 4. Prove you can work on a team. Join a sports team or club or work on a group project. Listen to others, offer your ideas, and contribute positively to the team's success. Be open to learning new things and ask questions. Employers want young people who work well with their mentors, fellow apprentices, and co-workers. 5. Demonstrate you can be responsible. Attend school regularly. Show up to class on time. Get a part-time job or volunteer. Be the person who can be counted on. Get your work done. Earn while you learn. Apprentices are paid wages when at work, earning while they learn. Average apprentice salaries range from $25,000 to $50,000 depending on the trade. Once certified, journey persons earn $60,000 to $100,000 annually. Many apprentices graduate from their programs debt-free. Employers are looking for young people just like you to work in the skilled trades. Prepare yourself and get ready. A great career is waiting for you.
Okay, so let's talk about all of the post-secondary options. I did have 2 additional videos that I was going to share with you, but we will skip right over to what the 7 different options are. So the different options that students have to choose from: 2-year college. Here in the state of Maine, it's typically a community college. The 4-year college. Within the 4-year college, there's private institutions like the University of Maine, University of Southern Maine, University of Maine, Augusta. There's also private institutions like Bates College, Thomas College, Colby College. There's certificate programs, and these certificate programs could be found within the community college system, but they could also be found within some private institutions. If you wanted to go to cosmetology school, that would be an example of a program that wouldn't necessarily be found in the community college. There are apprenticeship programs that there are companies all over the state of Maine offer. And we'll hear from a couple of different career opportunities tonight. You can go straight into the workforce. You can go into the military. Now, you can go straight into the military, into one of the branches, or if you wanted to, you go into the National Guard. And then there are some students who choose to take a gap year. And the gap year is, could be a multiple, you have multiple options within the gap year program. There are some organizations that offer gap year programs where students will travel either around the United States or outside the United States, and they'll perform some type of service. Or some students choose to take a gap year or a year off from school right after high school. They may work full time. But one of the things that we don't encourage students to do is stay at home on mom and dad's couch and eat Cheetos. So you want to make sure that you have a plan, and that plan includes, if you just do decide to take a gap year, that plan is has work involved in that. One of the questions that just came to me was, are viewers supposed to be in Zoom? And the answer is no. The link that was shared with all students and families is the link that you should be using. So you should be able to see the presentation. And then if you do have questions, you could just type them in the chat box on the bottom right-hand side. What should a junior do before their senior year starts? Now's a good time to start the research process, to take a look at all of the options. We talked about 7 of them, but within each one of those 7 individual options, there are just an enormous amount of opportunities that you have to choose from. You have to decide what your ultimate goal is and how are you going to achieve that ultimate goal. One of the first things that you should do is you should meet with your school counselor. We talked about those 5 amazing people at the beginning of the presentation. You could use the Aspirations Lab virtually. Right now, the Aspirations Lab is closed, but you could certainly send me an email and we can schedule a Zoom meeting. And we've been doing that all year long with juniors and seniors. I've met with some sophomores as well. And now is the time where you will be selecting your senior year courses. And you want to make sure that when you're making those selections, that you have your ultimate goal in place. You have your ultimate goal in sight. So that, for example, if you wanted to become a carpenter, that you are going to take classes, whether at Lewiston High School or Lewiston Regional Technical Center, that would prepare you for that particular career goal. Now, some of these goals are going to be achieved by you enrolling in advanced placement classes. And those are college level classes that are taught at Lewiston High School by Lewiston High School teachers. And at the end of the school year, there is an advanced placement test for each one of the courses. We offer about, I believe it's 7 or 8 advanced placement courses. You could also choose from early college courses. These are college level courses that are taught either online or on a college campus. And students are able to take up to 12 credits or 4 classes per year. Those classes can be taken in the fall, the spring, and in the summer as well. Lewiston High School, Lewiston Public Schools pays for any fees, any tuition, and we also can support students with the purchase of books. This year was our first year partnering with Thomas College for their dual enrollment program, and we're offering 5 college level courses taught by Lewiston High School teachers in Lewiston High School. You may also consider applying for an LRTC program. Those applications are available now, and those are available on the LRTC website, and we will go over what's available on the Lewiston High School Aspirations website, and you can find an application for that as well. Last week, all students at Lewiston High School, including the juniors, went through a transcript review activity in their DA class. So make sure that you're on track to graduate. You have to make sure that you've got your 24 credits. Make sure you're on track to get your English credits, your social studies credits, your science credits. And if for some reason you are not on track, you want to make sure that you're working with your school counselor to have all of those classes in your schedule for next year. And you also want to make sure, and while this is at the bottom, this is not in order of importance, but you want to make sure that you talk to your parents, your guardians, about what the options are and what the costs are. And we'll talk a little bit in greater detail a little later on tonight about the cost of going to college. Because I believe, and I know because of my conversations, that there are some misconceptions about the cost of college. So we'll talk about that a little later. What can you do during the summer? Well, you can discover what your college and career interests are. We have a lot of resources within Lewiston High School where you can take some surveys to see where your college and career interests lie. What do you like to do? What don't you like to do? And those surveys take about 15, 20 minutes each, and it will give you a good idea on where your interests lie at this point. You could take it now, and then 6 months from now, you could take it again, and your interests could certainly change. That's why this is a plan that could change as time moves on. You could participate in our April Vacation College Prep Workshop. That will happen during April vacation this year. Students and families received an email about that. So students, you want to make sure that you do sign up for that. We also offer our annual summer college application training camp. And many of the college partners who are here with us tonight have supported that program. And we will start the Common App on the first day. And by the last day, you'll have your Common App, I want to say about 90% complete. And you'll also have your personal statement or your college essay well on its way of being complete. We'll start the brainstorming process, and then we'll go through a revision process with some of our college partners, and they will provide students with feedback about your personal statement. You can start your common application this summer. A lot of colleges and universities are slowly opening back up to tours, whether they're guided tours or self-guided tours. You want to check with each one of the schools to make sure that they are offering tours of their campus. But summertime is a good time to do that if you're able to do that. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this coming fall, fingers crossed, that we might be able to travel to some college campuses, but I can't make any promises. You want to refine your list of options if you're choosing to go to college, or if you're choosing to go straight into the workforce. What are some opportunities that you may have? It's helpful to develop a resume, even if you're not planning on entering the workforce right away. A resume is a good place to put all of your clubs, activities, volunteer opportunities, jobs, experiences in one place, so that when you go to complete your common application, that's the one application that you can submit to many four-year colleges and universities around the country. Community colleges have their own application. During the summer, you can also start the scholarship application process. There are some scholarships that are available to juniors and to rising seniors. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Volunteer opportunities. If you aren't currently volunteering or providing some type of community service, that's something that you could continue to do, or take a look to see what kind of opportunities are out and about in the community. Because that's something that not only is it good for the community, but colleges and universities like to see students who are involved within their community. As I said earlier, you can use the Aspirations and Student Services supports over the summer. We talked about that. The Aspirations Lab, the Aspirations supports are available during the summer, because I do work year round. I do take some vacation time, but for the most part, I'm in the office in the summertime. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like as far as in-person activities go, but navigating Zoom is something that we've been doing all year, and we can continue to do over the summer. I do want to take a couple minutes to share with you what our Lewiston High School Aspirations website looks like. And when you take a look, you can see that we have, and I'm just going to quickly scroll down to the bottom, there's lots of information there. But I want to point out a couple of important points. Number one, early college learning opportunities. If you're interested in taking some summer early college courses, that information is right there. Information about what we're talking about tonight is going to be posted in this website, in this box right here, Class of 2022 Post-Secondary Planning Resources. Eventually, I will put the link to this video up there. Students and families, you may or may not know that we do have some virtual tutoring that's happening. Thomas College Dual Enrollment Pathways, we had an information session last week, and if you're interested in that information, that can be found here. But take some time to do that, because we take a lot of time and we try to update it at least once or twice a week in terms of majors and careers, job opportunities, college application, financial aid, personal development. So that's what our Lewiston High School Aspirations website looks like. Just wanted to take a quick look at questions. Financial aid is another important piece to the post-secondary planning puzzle. And Finance Authority of Maine is going to be sponsoring two financial aid information sessions that will happen on May 4th and May 11th at 6 o'clock via Zoom. The platform will likely look similar to this. We'll go into the details in terms of what is Fafsa. It's the free application for federal student aid. And the applications do not become available until October 1st. So what some students and families try to do is they try to get a head start, but don't start now because you won't be filling out the correct application. You will be looking for the 2022-2023 FAFSA. And as I said, that becomes available October 1st. Finance Authority of Maine will also talk about any type of other aid that's available to pay for post-secondary options. There are scholarship opportunities and grant opportunities, not just for 2-year or 4-year schools, but there may be some for some trade schools. There may be some for certificate programs if they're not held within a 2 or 4-year school. And there may also be some scholarships and grants for gap year programs where you would go to another state, another location in the United States, or you may go somewhere around the world to provide some type of service. I want to take some time to talk about the SAT, and just as a reminder, in the bottom right-hand side of your screen, there is a chat box. So if you do have questions that come up, please feel free to type those in. But the state of Maine has discontinued the use of the SAT as the high school state assessment. So what does that mean? That means high school juniors, third-year high school students, will not be taking the SAT at Lewiston High School in April, which is when they have typically done that. At this time, Lewiston High School has not been an official testing site for the College Board. And the reason for that is because of all the travel restrictions and guidelines that the state of Maine had in place in terms of out-of-state travel. The College Board does not limit who registers for the SAT. So at one point earlier this year, we had some people who were registered for the SAT at Lewiston High School from Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And at the time, the travel restrictions didn't allow us to welcome those students. So the size of the group also was another factor. So at this time, about 55% of all 4-year degree granting institutions have adjusted their testing policy for admissions. Just in 2020, 663 new colleges and universities have transitioned to a test optional status. That means that schools, colleges, and universities are not going to use the SAT as a factor in the admissions process. If students are able to take the test and they want to submit their test scores, they are free to do so, but not submitting your test scores do not negatively impact the admissions process. All of the schools here tonight are test optional, which is great. Many highly selective schools, including Bates College, which Joey Seltzer from Bates College is here tonight. She can talk a little bit more about that, but they were one of the first schools to adopt a test optional policy. And all 8 Ivy League schools are also test optional. To go into a little bit greater detail, and I'm taking so much time because this is one of the most popular questions that students and families ask is, well, if my student isn't able to take the SAT, how's that going to impact me? Well, admissions decisions are now being made without SAT scores, and they're using what's called a holistic application review process. And this means that they're looking at the entire student, the entire application. So they're taking a look at all the great and wonderful things that you've done inside the classroom, all the great and wonderful things that you've done outside the classroom, and they're not looking at a score. They're going to make those decisions based on looking at the entire individual. Merit scholarship programs have been adjusted to not include SAT scores in the awarding process. And it's important in terms of not being able to take the SAT, it's important for a student to recognize that if they do not get an opportunity to test, that they need to focus on what they can control, which you can control as a student, which is your performance in your academic classes, and the things that you can do outside of the classroom to complete your personal narrative. That means if you're involved in any clubs or activities, whether they're in-school activities or out-of-school activities or volunteer opportunities, you can talk about those things within your application. So it's more than just a test score. There are some individuals who were able to sign up for the May and June test. And at this time, we're not able to officially say whether or not Lewiston High School will serve as a testing site. That's something that is being discussed right now at the district level. So as soon as we have an answer for that, that will be posted on the College Board website. So yes, students at this point are able to register for the May and June SAT. If for some reason Lewiston High School ends up needing to cancel that those testing dates, you will be able to change your testing location if given enough notice, or you can get your money back. So please keep that in mind as you are looking at taking the SAT or not taking the SAT. I've also provided the website where you can take a look at all of the colleges and universities who are test optional. And right now there's over 1,700 schools who have identified that they are optional in some form or another. Naviance Student is a resource that Lewiston High School Student Services will use to manage all of the college applications. So if you do decide to go to college, you will need to make sure that you have access to this, and they will need to add all of the colleges that they are submitting their applications to. They need to request letters of recommendation. They need to request transcripts be sent there. And this is the portal that we use. If you do not know your login, there's a couple ways that you can do that. If you go to the website, and I'll share some resource pages within this presentation, which will be posted on the Lewiston High School Aspirations page. And if you hit forgot password, it will send access information directly to your school email address. All students have their school email within Naviance Student. So you can certainly do that, or please feel free to email your school counselor or email myself. Comment that just came across that I do want to share. Someone was told yesterday by guidance that there will be no SAT at LHS this year. That is the school day SAT. As I said earlier, Lewiston High School used to give the school day SAT every April for all 11th graders or third year high school students. At this point, we don't know if Lewiston High School will be able to offer the May and or June SAT. But stay tuned and we'll be able to share some information with you. I did create an interactive map that has the college partners, the post-secondary partners who are here with us tonight. And what this interactive map will do, and this, again, this is posted on the Lewiston High School Aspirations page, is you can actually hover over each one of these links and it will take you directly to a video. So I'm going to try to do this so that you can see what this might look like. So if I hover over the University of Maine, it would take me to this video where you could play and you'd get some information about the University of Maine. You could also hover over Associated General Contractors and it would take you directly to their specific website. So we've done that, and that's something that we will try to update. We'll try to put more of the post-secondary opportunities just so that people understand that it's not just these locations, these institutions that are offering opportunities, but with the number of opportunities that we have, there's a limited amount of space, but we're going to try to update this and keep this as user-friendly as possible. But this is just a good starting point. Here's some resources, resource list that we put together. And there's the Lewiston High School Student Services page, our aspirations page, the Naviance student page, the Common App application. That is the one application that you can submit to four-year colleges and universities. Big Future College Search, that's from the College Board. That's a great resource to look at colleges. And Finance Authority of Maine, that's your #1 financial aid resource that you should be accessing. Lewiston High School contact information. Again, this resource, the slideshow is shared on our Lewiston High School aspirations page, so you don't have to frantically write all of this information down. It's all available on the website. Those are the 5 school counselor email addresses and my email address, so please feel free to contact us with any questions that you might have. If you do have additional questions, we're going to take just a couple minutes to answer those before we move on to our panel. And one question that just came in is, will the SAT be available to take in 2022? That's the hope. The hope is that we will be able to offer the SAT again. The state of Maine has identified that they will not be using that as the 11th grade test. So if students are going to take the SAT, there's a great chance that it will need to be taken on a Saturday. And fee waivers are still available for those who qualify. So if you do qualify, that's something you're going to want to talk to your school counselor about, because there is a fee associated with the SAT. But if for some reason the fee is the hurdle that you have to overcome, talk to your school counselor, talk to myself, and we can certainly work through that with you. I'll wait just another 30 seconds or so before we move on to our panel. And again, as we're going through the panel conversation, panel discussion today, please feel free to continue to type your questions into the chat feature that's available to you. Okay, so before we start, I do want to take a 2-minute break. I've done quite a bit of talking, and I'm going to take just a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back, and I'll take some time to introduce all of our post-secondary panelists, our experts who are here with us tonight. So I will be back in just 2 minutes. Okay, we will get started now that we've taken just a couple minutes. And we're going to welcome the following people to our information session. And as you can see, we have quite a large group of people. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see all of our panelists. And we will start with Steve-O from Thomas College. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Steve.
Hey everyone, so my name is Stephen Reed. I'm an admissions counselor at Thomas. People call me Steve-O. So after we make this introduction, feel free to call me Steve-O anytime we discuss anything. Thomas is a great school up in Waterville, Maine. I was actually a student there. I graduated in December of 2019, and they wanted to keep me there because I had a passion for recruiting students, and I really wanted to share everything that Thomas has to offer. So hit me up with any questions you have related to Thomas College.
Thank you, Steve-O. Let's go to Chezit Belaya from University of New Hampshire.
Hey everyone, my name is Chesa Blaya. I am one of the Associate Directors of Admission at UNH. I'm also the main contact for all of Maine. So for those of you who will be seniors next year, I am the person you want to reach out to. So UNH is located in Durham, New Hampshire. We're about an hour and a half from Lewiston High School, not too far. We're considered a mid-sized university with about 12,500 undergraduate students. We're 48 states and 68 countries. We have over 100 different degree programs across 5 college divisions. We have strong academics. We also have an active student life with 18 Division I sports and 275 clubs and organizations. So I'll look forward to answering your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Chesit. Connor Sheehy from Central Maine Community College.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Doug, for putting this on for all of us. I am Connor. I'm the Interim Director of Admissions for Central Maine Community College, kind of your friendly neighborhood college right down the road. We're just about 5 minutes from the Lewiston High School. We are open for tours, as Doug had mentioned before. Some colleges are opening up for that. So we'd be excited to see any students that want to schedule that. And we'd be happy to review any incoming applications. We actually went ahead and waived the application fee. So thank you guys for your time, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Connor. We'll move on to University of Maine Augusta and Jeremy Bouffard.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, Doug. So we're one of the 7 University of Maine public campuses in the state of Maine. We'll probably get to more specific in details about what our offerings are in regards to our campus. Big thing I just want you to be aware of, I'm definitely open and available in regards to tours already, both virtually and physically in a number of different ways, large group as well as individualized. But then also I would want you to be aware that we would be glad to do a little bit more one-on-one planning with you in either virtual or phone or a number of different ways, physical as well. We can definitely set that up, but we could already start pre-planning with you in your junior year to position you well in regards to your programs already. But we'll talk more. Thank you for having me tonight, and I'll turn it on to the next person.
Thank you, Jeremy. Silvestri is from the University of Maine, and Silvestri, he's the rookie here. Now, not rookie with UMaine, but everybody else has already done this before. So he's going to show us how it's going to be done. Silvestri.
Now you make me nervous. No, really. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. My name is Silvestri Guzman, and I am an admissions counselor from the University of Maine in Orono. Just to tell you a little bit more about the student population at UMaine, we have 9,000 undergraduate students and 2,000 grad students. We are a Division I school, and we have 17 teams in a Division I, including football, ice hockey, baseball, basketball. We do have well over 200 student clubs on campus, and we are a sea grant, land grant research institution. And what that means is that all of our incoming students will have the opportunity to do some research and get some hands-on practical experience while you earning your degree at UMaine. Our early action deadline is December 1st, and our regular decision is March 1st. So if you have any questions about the admissions process at the University of Maine, by all means, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Excellent job, Silvestri. I think we might trade you for Nick Ray, but don't tell Nick that.
Thank you.
Thank you. John Tabor, University of Southern Maine, you're up next.
Bates is trying to cut in front of me. That's okay. We're okay. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. John Tabor from the University of Southern Maine, as you can see, right over my shoulder here. Right down the road from you in Lewiston, Portland, and Gorham. We have 50+ majors. Some of the big ones the last couple of years have been bio, nursing, engineering, business, and undecided. It's totally okay to do that. I can't wait to talk more about the application process. The college search process is super fun for those juniors that are watching right now. Totally enjoy it. And Silvestri did an awesome job.
Thank you. Joey. The floor is yours.
I'm so sorry, John. I need my glasses. I'm squinting at my screen. I thought I saw my name. Hi, everybody. Sorry we're not in person, but so glad that we can meet this way. I'm Joey Seltzer in the admission office at Bates. It's the Bobcat's birthday today, so I invited him to join us. Hopefully, most of you have been on the Bates campus at some point. We're not open for tours just yet, but hopefully by the summer, we'll be able to invite upcoming seniors and their families to tour campus and have in-person conversations. But Bates is a small liberal arts college. It's entirely residential. The focus is on the undergraduate institution, so we don't have any master's programs. Our financial aid is need-based, and we meet 100% of demonstrated need, which I'm sure we'll talk about financial aid throughout the process. But I am just down the street, happy to continue to work with Doug and all of his wonderful colleagues to meet more great Blue Devils. Have a great.
Now, Joey, I'm going to keep you on the spot because usually we do this when we're live and in person. Who's your famous sibling?
Yes, if I do the profile, sometimes with the nose, people pick it up. But my brother is Tim Farah. So your favorite physical education teacher is my claim to fame at Lewiston High School.
So she's famous because of her brother. Her brother's not the famous one. Thank you, Joey. Katie, University of New England, you're up.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Katie Bernier. I am a senior admissions counselor at the University of New England. I work with students from Maine, and I also work with all incoming first-year students on dual enrollment credits, as well as AP and IB credits. So always happy to answer any questions you have about those. A little bit about UNE, our main undergraduate campus is in Biddeford, so about an hour from Lewiston High School. And so on the main undergraduate campus, we have about 2,300 full-time undergraduate students. So average class size is about 22, and our student to faculty ratio is 13:1. So our students definitely get to know their professors well at UNE. We do have two other campuses. We have a graduate and professional campus in Portland, as well as a campus in Tangier, Morocco. We are really big about study abroad at UNE, so I'm always happy to chat a little bit more about that later tonight as well, but I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Lee, St. Anselm.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. My name is Lee Joyce. I am the admission counselor for students from the state of Maine, which I'm very partial to. I don't know sometimes if Maine students realize what a gift they are to the colleges they go to. They're great students and wonderful roommates. My college is over across the state line. We're in right outside of Manchester, New Hampshire. St. A's is considered a small school. We have 2,000 students. Classes average 18 students in them. Students choose St. A's because when they're touring colleges, they like the warm, fuzzy, at-home, strong sense of community they get from St. Anselm College. I'm happy to help anybody who's going through the college process. I have a junior in high school myself, and so I understand the stress that comes with it, certainly. So if I can help, I'm happy to do so.
Thank you, Lee. Jason Rowe, Maine Army National Guard. Hold on, Jason, you're muted. There we go.
There we go. Hey, I'm Sergeant Rowe, the Maine Army National Guard. Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. So we offer a part-time military service. We pay 100% of tuition to go to any of the universities here in Maine, and we offer some help with other colleges as well. So if you're interested in that, we can also further your education on like carpentry or being an electrician and that sort of stuff. Right in Lewiston, we have plumbers, electricians, carpenters, heavy equipment operators, and such. I'm right in the Auburn Mall, and you can always reach out to me, and we can talk about opportunities.
Thank you very much, Jason. Mark from the Maine Air National Guard.
Yes, thank you, Doug. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your students. I'm speaking to you from the Red Room, and just to show you how much I love the Maine Air National Guard and also my counterparts in the Army National Guard as well. Similar to what Jason was saying is that we do have a tuition waiver, free tuition for all state of Maine schools, state of Maine universities, including Thomas College, also Hudson University, and Maine Maritime Academy. And we offer several jobs if you want to get trained in the medical profession, construction, security forces, firefighting, cyber-related jobs. We have a wide variety of jobs, and you're able to exercise many options by actually going into the military part-time, reporting 1 week in a month, and devoting full time to a civilian job or your college education. So really excited to talk to anybody about the opportunities here in the Maine Air Guard. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you very much, Mark. Octavie from Maine College of Health Professions.
Hello, my name is Octavie Kama. I am the Assistant VP of Enrollment Management and Maine College of Health Professions, MCHP. We are located in Lewiston, Maine. We've been around for a long time, since 1893, about 255 students. So it's a very small school. And as our name says, that we focus in health sciences. Our main programs are under medical imaging and nursing. So under medical imaging, we have radiology technology and then some advanced certificate programs. And then for nursing, we have the associate degree of nursing and also a program that we call the RN to BSN and some other certificate program that we can talk about later. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Octavie. Up next is Dennis Landry from Associated General Contractors of Maine and Landry and French Construction.
Hello, Dennis Landry. Happy to be with you here tonight. And I am the president of Landry French Construction located in Scarborough, Maine, and also a member on behalf of the Associated General Contractors of Maine. We are an organization that is made up of several different affiliated companies that are all affiliated in somehow with construction. And our members are all looking for good workers, people that are interested in joining the trades, and does not require a 4-year education through a college, although it can, and there are colleges that can provide that, but not required. And so would be for plumbers, electricians, carpenters, etc. There's a multitude of opportunities, and there's an awful lot of people hiring. So I'll be glad to answer any questions in terms of the trades or on-the-job learning or apprenticeships.
Perfect. Thank you, Dennis. Justin, I believe, according to my calculations, you are the final person.
Excellent. Yeah, so I'm Justin Walsh. I'm the training director for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Apprenticeship Program. We're located in Lewiston. It's a 4-year program. Lewiston is where you would take your classes. But really, we do majority of our work for different electrical contractors in the greater Portland area. Usually it's within 40 minutes of Portland is where the majority of construction is happening anyway. Like I said, 4-year program, we take you from no experience to as long as you pass the state exam, you'd be an electrician in 4 years. Our program is really geared towards people that aren't traditional learners. So like if you really learn much better with your hands, and taking, we have labs, we do have a little bit of schoolwork, but it's only 6 hours a week. You're really sent out with a contractor for a 40-hour job, and you really learn on the job. So if that sounds good to you, then maybe the apprenticeship's a thing for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
So thank you all for sharing the information about your institution, your organization. And because we have so many of you here, I've been looking at all the questions, and I don't think I'm going to have to use all the questions that I had, because there are lots of questions that are coming in. And one of the first questions that came in was to all the panelists, and what makes your college or your organization unique? I'm not going to go through every single person, but I will just kind of go through, and if you guys can think of something that makes your institution, your organization unique, that'd be great. And we'll start with Chesit. What makes UNH unique?
So I would say what makes us unique is that we are a top tier research institution. So that actually is pretty unique because we're one of the few schools with that ranking without a medical school. And so what that means for our students is that because our focus is primarily on the undergraduate institution, on the undergraduate students starting as early as second semester freshman year can start conducting research. And that's a great way for you to dive in deeper to a subject area before deciding if that's something you truly want to pursue as a major or a possible career path.
Thank you, Chesed. Steve-O, what makes Thomas College unique?
Yeah, so this is a fun question. So I got two big things. The first is that we have a guaranteed job program. So if you're really concerned about whether or not you're going to find a job, we actually have a program set up for students that we guarantee that they will within 6 months of graduation. And the big requirements of like fulfilling the program is that you maintain a 3.0 GPA, you have an internship, you have 10 leadership or 10 community service hours a year and 2 leadership workshops a year. And basically we provide all those things through career services. We help you find an internship as well. The 3.0, you just got to talk to your professors. You got to make sure you're doing the work, but it's something you can maintain. The leadership workshops, we have those on campus, and then the community service, we offer those through Thomas. We have Thomas sponsored events. The other thing I think it's really cool is that you'll see a lot of alumni that work at the school. I'm a prime example. And that just goes to show that, we had a great experience as students, and we didn't want to go too far. We wanted to make sure we gave back and used our positive experience to help the rest of the student body and the community feel the same way. So those are my two unique pieces.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve-O. Silvestri, what makes UMaine unique?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the University of Maine is classified as a sea grant, land grant institution. And what that means is that we are getting funding resources from the state and federal government. This provides a great research opportunities for our students who decide to attend UMaine. They can start their research with a faculty member in their first semester when they arrive to campus, if they feel ready. And we also have an undergraduate research center where all of our undergraduate students submit their work. And then we have the first year research symposium at the center of the University of Maine, at the University of Maine, where they go and showcase their work. And also many employers go there and observe what students have done for research. And that could lead for internship opportunities off campus and potentially employment even well before students graduate. So a great research opportunity for students at UMaine.
Thank you, Silvestri. Connor, how about CMCC? What's unique about them?
So I think the first thing that comes to mind whenever someone says the word community college, you think of low cost. So what's really unique for Mainers specifically is that we offer the lowest tuition in all of New England. So if you're really looking for the lowest possible cost to get a good quality degree, we would be that option for you. But what's super unique about our school, even within the Maine community college system, is our access to technology and resources. You can see my background. This is actually our esports arena. So just in your free time between classes, you can use this space to play video games for fun or join a varsity esport team. And that's just one of the many examples of our access to technology. We've also redone our entire nursing simulation lab for our nursing program. We have digitized cadavers in our learning commons, as well as 3D cadavers. So even though we have the lowest tuition in New England, it does not limit what we have for resources. In many cases, it's very competitive with any other college out there.
Thank you, Connor. Jeremy, University of Maine, Augusta.
Thank you. So first off that comes to mind for the University of Maine Augusta is just the flexibility of the footprint that we have within the state of Maine, as well as the modality options inside most, if not all, of our degree programs for students. So University of Maine Augusta has a footprint that spans at 42 locations. We have 2 primary campuses in Augusta and Bangor, along with 8 larger centers spread across the state, one being in Lewiston, and then 32 smaller sites that are usually stationed at high schools or adult ed locations where we have a classroom or 2 set aside for our students to attend at. So just that physical footprint allows our students the capabilities in a lot of different ways to access different pieces for their programs. And then the modality options within inside the program. So yes, physical attendance, I would say is my preferred and maybe yours as well. But if not, then I would say it definitely lends well to the capabilities that UMA offers our students in that online in real time, like what we're doing right now is online real time. And then all of those locations, and that you may have to just travel to the town over instead of all the way into the main campus and still attend a live class and have interaction directly with your classmates and faculty. So that is the first that comes to mind. The second, I would say, would be in regards to just the uniqueness of UMA. Though we may be pulling in, a class of almost 1,000 students, half of those may be choosing to be 100% online. And so it lends itself nicely to what I call the Goldilocks size campus. It's not too big, it's not too small. If you like to stand out and be recognized, you can. If you want to kind of blend in and just be part of the crowd, you're able to do so as well. So would love to see if we might be the right fit for you.
Thank you, Jeremy. John Tabor, unique about University of Southern Maine, and he and I did not call each other to coordinate our bow ties.
Yes, we did. Yeah, it's unique about USM. The first thing that comes to mind for me is probably that we have some sort of field placement observation, something where you're going to get some hands-on learning across all of our majors. That doesn't matter if you're a philosophy major or an education major, or you're in engineering or nursing, you're going to get some sort of hands-on real-world experience. And that's really important, because I think I saw some of those questions earlier from Doug. He kind of coached us a little bit. And one of those was like, how do I know if my program's going to be right for me? Like, you'd hate to get to the end of 4 years and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I don't want to be a teacher. I want to do this instead. I want to go into this. If you have that experience in your first or second year, you're going to know if a program's the right fit for you. And with that, you're going to make sure that you're also getting the job that you want out of college and not just the job you need.
Thank you, John. Joey, how about Bates College?
Sure. I would talk about the history, but I get long-winded, so I'll save that for another time when we're together. But a couple things that I'll highlight in terms of unique things at Bates. I talk a lot about Lewiston. I probably talk about it less when I'm talking to people from Lewiston, so I want to make sure I highlight that as one of the unique things about how Bates approaches the liberal arts education. Bates is a national leader in what's called community engaged learning. And in a typical year, probably for most of you throughout your time in the Lewiston public schools, you've seen a lot of Bates students in your classrooms, in the hallways at your schools as part of their education, as well as that hands-on experience. And that extends beyond just the education system. So our students are experiencing real hands-on learning related to their academic work across the disciplines. So science, math, economics, history, social sciences, the humanities, and certainly education. So that's something that Bates does at a national level really well. And maybe another thing that I'll highlight is our academic calendar is a little bit different. In a typical year, we have 2 traditional semesters where you take on average 4 classes each semester. And then at the end of the year in the spring, we have 5 weeks of what's called short term. So 1 month where you just get to take 1 class, 1 intensive course that coincides with the spring. So there's this little kind of unique approach to your education that happens kind of as a reward at the end of the academic year.
Thank you, Joey. And in terms of community engaged learning, both the fall semester and spring semester, we've had over 50 Bates virtual tutors supporting Lewiston High School students Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., except Fridays, we stop at 3 because there aren't too many kids doing homework after 3. So
that's awesome. I know my little guy's at Farwell, and he has Zoom sessions with Bates students too, which is really awesome. So definitely, if that's something that's of interest to you as a student, this is a place that does it really well.
We're very lucky, that's for sure. Katie, how about University of New England?
Yeah, So there's definitely a lot of unique things about UNE. I think probably one of the best things is our locations. So with our location in Biddeford, we are right on the water. We have about 4,000 feet of water frontage right on our Biddeford campus with a private beach. So we're definitely in an ideal location for marine science or environmental science students. We do have an island off the coast of campus that our marine science students are able to do research on. So we definitely are really big on experiential hands-on learning at UNE. We're also on about 360 acres of land. So there's, again, a lot of really great outdoor space for our science students to really get outside and, again, get into the field or into the water and really kind of experience everything. But our Portland campus is, just outside of Portland, right, kind of on the outskirts. So there's a lot of really great clinical locations for our nursing and our pharmacy and PA and, PT and OT students as well. So we have that really awesome Portland location. On our Portland campus, we have our own dental hygiene clinic where we see about 5,000 patients a year. And we also have our own nursing simulation center. We were the second school in the country to get virtual reality for nursing students. So we're really excited about that for our Portland campus. And then our third campus in Tangier, Morocco is definitely, really awesome for all of our students. All of our students are able to study abroad, even our nursing and pharmacy students. We do have science classes in Morocco. So everyone's able to go without falling behind in their classes. So I think we have some pretty awesome locations.
Thank you, Katie. Justin, what's unique about the IBEW? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but.
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest thing is what we call the earn while you learn. So during the day, you're getting paid, but you're also learning. And another kind of a unique thing is that, so there's IBWs all through the United States. And so once you graduate, if you, let's say you wanted to go work somewhere else, you have the opportunity to do that. You can go and work for other IBWs in different states and travel around. And we have members that haven't been home in years, and they only come home in the summer times. They make so much money traveling. So it's a pretty unique situation.
Thank you. Jason, how about the Maine Army National Guard? What's unique about your organization?
Can you see me okay? I'm sorry.
Yep.
You can see that I don't Zoom all the time. This isn't really my thing. I'm kind of new to it, honestly.
You're doing a great job.
So the National Guard actually has a lot of unique different things, but I'd say one of the unique things is if you're 17 years old and you're a junior and you want to go to basic training between your junior and senior summer, you can do that. That's it's pretty unique. Another unique thing, I guess, would be we're one of the only branches that deploy stateside. So here in Maine, we've been out supporting COVID. I don't know if anybody's been over by Great Falls Plaza. You see one of our tents there. We've been doing COVID testing. And then we have an aviation unit up in Bangor where we patrol Mount Katahdin and Baxter State Park. So I don't have the stats for last summer, but the summer before we did 19 missions, either search and rescue or, just finding people who've broken their legs or whatever. So I think those are pretty neat.
Thank you, Jason. Mark, Maine Air National Guard, and if you could talk a little bit about the community college within the Air Force.
Yes, so I think, Doug, most people think that, why would the Maine Air National Guard be talking about college? Well, all our enlistees are automatically enrolled in what's called the Community College of the Air Force. It's a legit college accredited through the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. And once they go through basic training, they earn credits, elective, free electives, credits towards a degree during basic training. But for their technical training school where they learn their job, they also continue to earn credits. While they're away, they don't pay us, we pay them. They're getting paid full time. So it's kind of similar to what Justin was just saying, and earn while you learn. They're learning all the skills, all the discipline. So when they do come back here to the state of Maine, they have a tendency to be a well-disciplined college student. One example I like to use is that Staff Sergeant Jacob Smith went to a cyber school in Biloxi, Mississippi. When he returned, he enrolled in a cyber program at the University of Southern Maine, and he was able to transfer 35 credit hours into that program. So he started that program as a sophomore without paying a dime. So I think that's what's pretty unique about the Maine Air National Guard and the Community College of the Air Force, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you. Octavie, how about Maine College of Health Professions?
All right. About MCHP, we are very hands-on with the labs. We have high-tech simulations. So our students are able to practice what they are learning in the classroom right there on campus. The second thing I like to brag about the school is the clinicals. Our students are able to start the clinicals within the first semester. They don't have to wait to complete their first year before they can get to different sites and practice what they are learning. So they have some classes, sometimes online or in person on campus, and then they attend the clinical sites. So that's what I really like to talk about when I talk about MCHP.
Thank you very much. Dennis, how about Associated General Contractors or the construction field? What's unique about that?
Well, when I graduated from Lewiston High School, I could not see myself going to a four-year college. I wanted to go to work. And I think so in order to continue your education and go to work, I think the trades gives you a great opportunity to do that. Some people just like to work with their hands, or they like to work outdoors, and they're not the traditional type of student that is looking to go to college for 4 years. So there are a lot of other avenues that they can go, as Justin had mentioned, that don't necessarily require them to just go to school, but can continue to learn and work in a trade at the same time.
Thank you, Dennis. And last, but certainly not least, Lee, St. A's. What's unique about St. A's, other than they're in New Hampshire?
Yeah, we're in New Hampshire. Well, actually, it's what makes us unique. We're in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the first state to vote in the presidential primary election, because St. Anselm College is in Manchester, New Hampshire, which is New Hampshire's largest city. We play host of the presidential primary debates once every 4 years. So every 4 years, this political circus runs right through campus. Every president since JFK has been to St. A. So if you want to meet the next president of the United States, it's a very easy thing to do if you're at St. Anselm College. It's also easy to pick up internships with politicians. We have a minor in campaign management. And the school itself is nonpartisan, and literally everybody comes, as well as all of the major news outlets, CNN and ABC and Fox News and Google and the whole shebang. And then the other thing that makes us unique is at the opposite end of the spectrum of 2020 American political life is we have a Benedictine monastery on campus, which is a medieval European Catholic tradition. So it's very, we have this very old medieval monastic tradition right on campus. Very different, opposite ends of the spectrum.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody. I think each one of you brought something that truly is unique about each one of your institutions. And I think that's what draws our students to each one of the schools that they decide to go to, is there's that one unique factor that they've decided is the thing that gets them to go there. One of the questions that came up, and I'm going to ask Chesit, if you could talk a little bit about what does it take for a student to get a full ride to college?
That's a tough one.
That's why I gave it to you.
Thank you. So this year we decided to do away with taking SATs into consideration. So we went test optional the year before, but SATs, if you submitted them, were still part of the equation for scholarship consideration. This year it is entirely based on your academic achievement and the classes that you've chosen to pursue. And all of the scholarship tiers are listed on our website. So the highest tier scholarship is the trustee scholarship. It's pretty close to full tuition, but that in combination with the other scholarships that we do offer. So for example, our Peter T. Paul College of Business does offer a pretty generous scholarship also for top tier students. So if you qualify for the trustee scholarship, which is the highest tier, students will also be qualified for the Paul scholarship also, which is stackable, which would bring you to full tuition or close to it. There isn't a separate application, so it's solely based on your academic achievement, and it is awarded at the time of admission. Similar to that, we have the College of Engineering also. So for those engineering students, it is priority. We do prioritize early action applicants. And so if you are a high achieving student, and are eligible for a top tier scholarship again, you will be invited to apply to the SEPS Industry Scholarship. That one is definitely a full boat. And so those are two very generous scholarships that are stackable on top of the trustee scholarship, which would bring you very close, if not to full tuition at UNH.
Thank you, Chesa. Silvestri, can you talk a little bit about athletics and scholarships, and if someone wants to play Division I, because that's what UMaine is, can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So the athletics scholarships at the University of Maine is offered independently from the Office of Admissions, and it is by recruitment only. So the coaches will go on the road to recruit prospective students, and it depends on the program that students want to apply, or depends on the sports that they play. They will work with the athletic department to coordinate the scholarships available to them. But in addition to that, the merit-based scholarship that we offer through the Office of Admissions, they will also qualify for that. So they could potentially receive a full ride to attend the University of Maine, depending on the athletic program that they apply for.
Thank you very much. I think in both instances, I mean, UNH is also a Division I school. I think in both instances, what I hope you take away from both of their responses is that it's not something that happens to very many people. It's a unique situation for whether it's athletic purposes or academic purposes, like Chesa was saying. It's a unique occurrence, and students likely will have been working their entire 4 years or 3.5 years by the time they get the college acceptance. So I think the focus, to go back to something I talked about earlier, the focus should always be academics and your extracurriculars and the great things that you do inside and outside of the classroom as you're going through your high school years. Joey, a question that came up, I'm going to kind of change it a little bit. What advice can you give a student who wants to go to a highly selective college? If they're looking at highly selectives, the question specifically mentioned Ivy Leagues, but I kind of want to transition that into the more selective schools, such as Bates College.
Sure. And just for definition, for folks that are trying to understand all the words that we throw out in this process, selectivity just means the percentage of students who apply who are admitted. So highly selective is, in the most selective schools, like low single digits, 1-2%, to all the way up to maybe 25%. I think that's the threshold for highly selective. So 25% means 1 out of every 4 students who apply to the institution are offered admission. So selectivity, I think it sometimes gets conflated with the strength of the school or how good the school is. So I would encourage folks, as they're navigating all their options, not to be too caught up in the selectivity. It might not be the best fit for you, even if it is the best school you got into. So I would encourage you to certainly pay attention to those numbers, but don't let that guide your college search. So that's my first piece of advice is don't worry about brand names, worry about what you want and what those institutions are going to offer you. If it ends up that those schools that you're really interested and excited about that are a good fit for you are highly selective, that they are really competitive in the admission process, you need to make sure that you are kind of paying attention to what they want you to do. Different schools might have different requirements or different opportunities. For Bates, we look closely at demonstrated interest as one factor of many in our review process, but that is something we track. So students who have engaged with us in our information sessions, have done either a virtual tour or a live tour when we get back to those, who have taken the opportunity to interview. So we look at that as a student who's done their research and knows this place and knows that they're a good fit for it. Also, we don't want to offer admission to somebody who's not really excited about it. We have lots of other people who are excited about it. So that's another way that we use that demonstrated interest in our process. That's not true of all highly selective schools, but that's one thing to think about. But I would encourage you to take advantage of the fact that admission officers, you've seen some of them tonight, but our job is to connect with you and answer your questions and help facilitate this process. Also, we're the ones who very likely will read your application. So get to know who your territory manager is at the schools that you're looking at and try to connect with them, build a relationship there, ask them questions, and help them help you through the process. And certainly, the financial aid process is a big part of it for a lot of families. So again, we're the people that can help you navigate all of those questions as you go through this process.
Thank you very much, Joey. Next question I have is, what kind of supports do you give for degree completion? I'm going to throw that to Steve-O. In terms of Thomas College, a student's going to go through there in 2, 3, 4 years. What kind of supports are you going to provide them along the way throughout those years?
Yeah, so we actually have a lot of supports. I mentioned the Guaranteed Job Program for your post degree support there. You're constantly working with our Career Services Office, and if you are a part of that program, you have their services for life. So post degree, Guaranteed Job, Career Services, that's one support. While you're at Thomas and you're getting your degree, we have our Student Success Center, specifically where they deal with the TRIO program. They have our Early Start program where students can come on campus about a week to 10 days early as incoming first years, and they can actually get an entire course out of the way, entire 3 credits established with the school ahead of time, and just meet other people, other first years that are incoming as well, just to get that full establishment. So we have that right off the bat. And then the Student Success Center, they work with our students from first year to graduation to completion of their degree. Our professors, they're very open. They have an open door policy where if their door is literally open, you just have to knock and see if they have time. They'll help you with whatever problem or homework or discussion that you have. Even myself in admissions, you can use me as a support. So there's basically support everywhere you turn at Thomas, no matter staff, faculty, other students. And that's something we're really proud of. And being a student, I can say that I had a lot of really good support along the way that even the person that runs the athletic center, Jim, me and him are really good buddies now, just because I had that good connection with him as a student. So anybody that you turn to at Thomas really is a solid support, but we have our student success, career services as our big departments there.
All right, thank you, Steve-O. John Tabor, same question to you. Larger institution, multiple campuses. Can you talk a little bit about the supports that students will get if they choose to enroll at University of Southern Maine?
Yeah, it sounds probably like a lot of different schools, but I think one of the biggest things is, you're going to have your teachers, you're in all of your classes, you're going to have those classes that range from 10 to 20 students up to 50, 60, 70 students. So part of it is getting to know those professors so that you can take advantage of the office hours, take advantage of the time in the classroom, and being able to reach out to them and feel comfortable to advocate for yourself. That's probably the biggest difference between college and high school, is that although there's all these support systems in place at all these different institutions, you do have to ask. They can't read your mind. So yeah, we have, on all 3 of our campuses, we have a library there with a learning commons of some sort. Obviously, Portland and Gorham have a larger offering of learning commons there versus up in Lewiston, where those are places where you can kind of book a room with your friends, and you have a chance to take advantage of that room in a nice quiet area, and you can work on a project. You can meet with a tutor. You can just have a nice quiet space that's part of the library but offset from it, so you can actually get some work done and have all those research materials that you might need for that project that's going on as well. Beyond that, we have our student disability services for students that might come to school with some sort of IEP plan. Again, the difference between college and high school, what is offered supports in high school versus college is completely different. But you have that place where you can go to meet and talk about what we can offer for disability services at the college level. Helping with note taking, helping with the organization, helping with these different things. And then that also makes for a nice home base for some students. You get used to seeing the same people in the same location, and we'll have students that use that Student Disability Services office in Portland as kind of their home base while they're taking classes there for the day, and then they go back home, quote unquote, to Gorham. So again, you're going to have all these different resources, and one of probably the nicest pieces, sorry, I'm getting long-winded, is that that first week of class, hopefully when we're back to the old times where we have classes and organizations on campus, is that we have this fair where students can kind of get to know all these different organizations on campus, and all those support services are going to be there as well. So you can kind of get to know them before you actually start taking classes that first week.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Next question is to the National Guard. Jason, can you talk a little bit, what is the commitment after graduating from college in terms of National Guard? Does it continue on after that? What does that look like?
Sure. Good question. So because it's 1 week in a month and 2 weeks in the summer, you actually continue on whatever your contract is. So if you're a junior in high school, we're going to look for a 6-year contract. So if you graduate, if you do a 2-year program, you'll probably have some to finish up after school. If you're a junior in high school and you do the 6 years, and you have 4 years of college, you'll probably finish out about the time that you're done. But if you can always extend your contract and that sort of thing. So because it is part-time, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer, your obligation is I think it's about 38, 39 days a year. So it's not that large.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's go to, let's see. Got to look in a couple different spots. One of the questions, we touched upon it a little bit. Katie, if you could talk a little bit about how does a student figure out what is the best fit option for them, whether it's the college major, whether it's the college campus itself. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's kind of a lot of different ways to figure out what school is the best fit. I think probably the best way to figure it out is to visit campus in person, if possible. Obviously, right now, things are a little bit different, but really kind of visiting the campus. Once you step foot on a campus, you pretty much know pretty quickly if it's going to be the right fit for you or not. But I would definitely recommend doing a lot of research on your schools as you're kind of starting to make your list of colleges or places that you're looking to attend next year. You really want to look at a wide variety of schools so that you can either rule out bigger schools or smaller schools or, really kind of everything in between. So definitely make a list and visit as much as you possibly can. And definitely, keep in touch with your admissions counselor. We are obviously a really great resource for you all, and we are all here because we like to chat with you and tell you more a little bit about our schools. So keep in touch with us, but definitely visiting campus is one of the best ways to figure it out.
Thank you, Katie. Justin, same question for you. How does one know right now if they've never been able to experience being an electrician or working in that type of environment? How would you guide someone in your direction?
It's probably a good question. I would say I tend to think of it like, does construction interest you? Like, are you the type of person that walks by a construction site and looks in, or do you not even care? Are you the type of person that goes to like a home improvement store and do you love it, or are you not really into that? Because that's the one thing about like being an electrician is like you kind of get a broad kind of knowledge of construction. Like even though I'm an electrician, I've fixed my refrigerator, I've fixed my furnace, and so if those are the type of things that you're interested in, and you like figuring out how stuff works, taking things apart, I would say that's kind of the way to go. That's probably that's the avenue you should go into. That would be my recommendation. If those are the things that interest you, there's probably a good path for you as an electrician.
Okay. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Dennis, could you talk a little bit about the applicants that you're looking for within the world of construction? What are 2 or 3 qualities that you hope to find in people that work for you?
Always looking for people that have some passion for what they do, but we're looking for a lot of the skills I think any employer looks for, whether it's construction or any other, that we want them to come to work every day, right? And we want them to be eager to learn and have a great attitude. Really, if when I interview people, if I'm interviewing somebody who has a great attitude and who's eager, and you can just see the enthusiasm, as opposed to somebody who's probably on paper smarter, but doesn't really come across as being very enthusiastic or have a lot of, it doesn't have that good attitude. I'd rather teach somebody any day of the week that's got a good attitude and is eager to learn. That's really what we're looking for. And like I said, somebody who wants to come to work every day.
Thank you, Dennis. Mark, same question. In terms of the military side of things, when you're looking at individuals coming into the military, what are 2 or 3 qualities that you're looking for that may be different than what Dennis was talking about?
That's a great question, Doug. And I think it's very similar to what was just said, is that we're looking for people who are motivated. When applicants make contact with me, I give them all the information, all the benefits, all the commitments, and what I emphasize to them is that we have a tuition waiver, we have free college, but in exchange for that, there's a commitment, and we expect something from them to serve their country, to serve their state. And those are the types of individuals that we're looking for, is people who are committed to something greater than themselves, people who are great in a group environment that want to help others. We have a saying in the Air Guard is that leave no airman behind. And those are the types of folks that we want, somebody that's motivated. I would prefer not to track people down and chase people down and bug them about joining the military. I want somebody who's, inherently motivated, and one that's dedicated, one that's disciplined, and again, a person that is willing to make some sacrifices in order to achieve their goals.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to transition, and there's no other way to do this other than just saying, okay, let's move on to the next question. Lee, can you talk to us about the application process at St. Anselm's? Because it's going to be quite similar to most of the institutions who are here. But can you just kind of go through, if a student is interested in St. A's, what would the application process look like?
So St. Anselm College, like many schools across the country, accepts the Common App, which is a nice, it's the Common App. So it's an account that you sign up for online, and you fill out this application form one time, so that rather than having to fill out your name and your address and your high school information and your activities to the 7 different colleges that you're applying to, you do it once, and then it can go and be submitted to most 4-year colleges. I think community colleges have craft their own applications, but most colleges across the country take the Common App. And so most students will work on that and submit it depending on when they're comfortable submitting their grades out of high school. Many students apply in the fall because they want an answer as soon as possible, because they want a financial aid package as soon as possible, so that they and their families have as much time before May 1st to decide not only what's going to be a good academic fit and community fit, but what's going to be a good financial fit as well. But at any rate, a student will submit their common application. They'll connect with their school counselor. The school counselor will submit a high school transcript, letters of recommendation. These land at the admission office. I usually start reading applications in early November. I make a decision or a recommendation. There are a number of people who will read an application within a college admission office. A decision is made, and the decision letter will go out to the student, usually within 2 months of the student applying. That's kind of a general timeline.
What, when you're looking at applications, Lee, what's the one thing that typically stands out for you when you're looking at all those different pieces that you talked about?
Grades. And for me in particular, you know, I was listening to Dennis saying, you know, I want somebody who is, you know, sincerely plugged in and wanting to do a good job. That's what colleges are wanting as well. We want students who are going to join our communities and make them better. But we also need students to be able to do the academic work and to hit the ground running and to be academically successful as well. So though I know college is a time to grow academically, you're growing your academic skills and your thinking skills and writing skills and communication skills, you do have to leave high school with good solid basics as well. So I spend a lot of time examining students' English grades because it's important for me that a student has, you know, can read and write effectively before they come in to St. Anselm College. So I look at English grades, math, science, history, foreign language, and then I also give a good look at the essay. You know, so if a student, what is the English grade, but then can the student also write effectively?
Thank you, Lee. Octavia, when you're looking at applications for Maine College of Health Professions, is there anything that's different compared to what Lee was talking about?
Not really. For our students interested in medical imaging with RadTech, we can waive the AccuPlacer for them if they have taken college level courses for English and math. But basically, we have the same admission process, and we do not look at essays. So basically, the application requirements and some type of test.
Thank you very much, Connor. Central Maine Community College, and I believe all the community colleges in the state, they have a very similar application. They look exactly the same, all on a different website though. Is the application process to the community college different than what Lee was talking about?
Yeah, so the applications for community colleges are very simplified. You can fill it out in a matter of 2 minutes. Honestly, it's your name, email, and some basic information about your education background. One piece of convenience though is for any of the seniors that are doing early college with us, we double that registration form as their application, just to make it easier. We don't want to get their email twice when we don't have to. So for many of the seniors, they apply without even thinking it's the application at that time. And if they want to pull it out at any point, they just let us know. But we kind of do a 2-for-1 basically with any of the early college students. But yeah, so it's a very simplified application that just takes a couple minutes to fill out and there's no cost to do it. So it's still a free application. We don't require the essay and we are test optional. As you said, every school here is test optional. We just call it multiple measures. So we'll look at your high school grades, we'll look at test scores if you have them. Letters of recommendation, again, if you have them, they're not mandatory, but if it helps us with your placement, you know, we'd be happy to take it.
Thank you, Connor. Silvestri, University of Maine takes in a few applications every year. How many do you guys typically take in a year?
Yes, so we take approximately 16,000 per year. As I mentioned earlier, our early decision deadline is December 1st. And if our students apply by that date, then we review their application and make a decision by the end of December, typically. And then if they apply after that date, then typically we send out these decisions as we go through the applications.
Thank you, Silvestri. Joey, can you talk a little bit about Bates College, anything that's different about the application process? And can you also talk a little bit about early decision?
Sure. So I get to define some terms tonight. So early decision is a binding round of application. So it means that if you are admitted, that you're committed to coming. So you actually, as the student, the applicant, sign a contract, your parent or guardian signs a contract, and your school counselor also signs that contract saying, we know the rules, and if we're admitted, we're coming. So what's nice about that is that it allows you to say, this is my #1 school, and commit to that early. Also, for some schools, for Bates, maybe not every school, but for a lot of schools, there's a more generous admission rate in early decision. So it's a nice kind of competitive advantage if you do have a clear number one school to apply through early decision. Another layer to the early decision conversation for a lot of students, particularly in our athletic conference, is the athletic recruitment process. So for a lot of our recruited athletes, there is conversation about committing through the early decision process. So if you're thinking about playing Division III sports, even though there's no letter of intent like you would at a D1 level, there might be kind of encouragement, if not pressure, to commit to your Division III school by applying early decision. I will say for a lot of families, the concern, even if you do have that clear number one, is will my financial aid be the same? And for some families, it makes sense to apply through early decision because they've done their research and you can do some nice financial aid calculations in advance and get a sense of what it will cost you. But for other families, they really do need to see a number of different financial aid awards from a number of different institutions. So for that reason, it might not be smart to apply through early decision. So those are a few things. But if you do have a clear number one school at the end of this search process, it's worth asking about early decision.
Thank you, Joey. So within the application process, as Joey was talking about, there's the early decision process, then there's early action, which is applying early and finding out early. Then there's regular decision. There's usually a deadline for that. Most of the time, it's sometime after the beginning of January and of the graduating year. And then there's something that's called rolling admissions, and that just means that they take applications all the time and they're accepting students all the time. We do have a lot of colleges here in the state of Maine that do have rolling admissions, so that's something to keep in mind. The last question that I'm going to give to everyone, I believe we've answered all of the questions that I could see in some way, shape, or form. The last question I'm going to ask everybody is, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to our current 11th graders, our juniors, the great students of Lewiston High School, as they either begin working on their post-secondary plan or continue working on their post-secondary plan? One piece of advice. And we will start tonight with Jeremy from University of Maine, Augusta.
This is a hard answer because there's 1,000 things that every one of us would like to tell you all to do. But my number one at the top of the list for tonight is ask questions. And I understand that you may not know what questions to ask or how to ask them. Just ask anything. I almost guarantee we've probably heard everything, every which way, every possible way to ask it to us, and we will understand what you're trying to get for information. So just ask questions and don't be shy about it. And if you get an answer and it doesn't click with you and it doesn't make sense to your brain, ask again. Ask for it to be explained in a different way. Don't be shy about it either. I would say all of my colleagues and I, we would consider it job security for you to keep asking questions. So please keep the questions coming. We're glad to help.
Thank you, Jeremy. John Tabor, one piece of advice.
Oh, so early on in the process, I have so many possible answers. This is great. I will say, take ownership of your college search. Although we are here to answer your questions and we want to answer all your questions, please ask all of them. But this is your search. It's not your friends. It's not your significant others. Mom and dad will have a say, obviously, but we should have your information on hand. Create that email address and make sure you use the same one on all of your applications so we can get a hold of you. That's probably the biggest thing, is take ownership and create that email address.
Thank you very much, John. Steve-O, you're up.
So John and Jeremy took my two right off the top, which is great. But one thing I'll say is don't undersell yourself. If there's a school you want to go to that you think might be too good for you or that you won't be able to get into, don't think that way. Just go for it. The best you can do is just put yourself out there and really communicate with your admissions counselors or communicate with whoever's in touch with you. But don't sell yourself too short. You're a lot better than you think you are. So aim high and shoot for the stars.
Thank you, Steve-O. Silvestri.
Thank you. So I would like to emphasize communication. It's never too early to start searching for colleges as you're getting ready to enter into your senior year. I also like that piece of advice that get in touch with your admissions counselor. If you see something on their website that you need some clarification on, by all means, do not hesitate to reach out to the Office of Admissions, whether it is at the University of Maine or somewhere else. Get that information clarified and ask all kinds of questions. If you're not satisfied with a certain answer, try to rephrase it until you get to the point where you understand it well. That way you can make a well-informed decision when time comes to commit to an institution. So again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We are here to provide services, and we will do all we can to guide you through the process of applying. Sometimes it can be very frustrating, but we are here to guide you every step of the way.
Thank you, Silvestri. Chezit.
Great. So as juniors, you are in a great position to start doing your research. So I would say, do your research, find out what the admission requirements are for each of the colleges you're interested in applying to. Also, pay close attention to the majors that you may be choosing to apply to, because there may be different requirements for different majors. At UNH, for example, for students who apply to the engineering and life sciences, we do want to see a math and science in the senior year, even if you've taken pre-calculus in your junior year. So research is key, and plan accordingly in your senior year to make sure that you're not taking a light load. You want to continue with the core classes in your senior year.
Thank you, Chezit. Katie.
Awesome. Lots of pieces of advice that were kind of coming to me and they've already been taken, but I would say communication is definitely key, as all my colleagues have said already. But I would also say that it's never too early to start thinking about what you want to do. You have plenty of options, whether it's, a 4-year school or a 2-year school, or military, or taking a gap year. You really have, some time, and definitely start thinking about it now. And don't be afraid to ask us questions as you are figuring out your next steps.
Thank you, Katie. Justin, piece of advice.
I would just say kind of really think about your future. Think about do you have a goal? What is it you actually want to do? And then can you see yourself doing that for the rest of your life? That's the kind of thing. If you're going to be an electrician, it takes you 4 years. There's no tuition. Doesn't cost you anything. You change your mind, you'll still be an electrician for the rest of your life. So yeah, just kind of think about your future and actually really think about do I want an office job? Do I want to work on a dirty construction site? One person's going to say yes. One person's going to say no to both of those questions. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Justin. Jason.
Oh man, loaded question, but just enjoy whatever you do and be happy.
Thank you. Lee.
I like Jason's advice. That's great. I think that the college process can be unnecessarily stressful. And sometimes it feels like you're expected to cough up answers to things you're just not sure about. And I say be comfortable with being unsure. It's completely okay. You're 17, 18 years old and you're bouncing on the diving board of your life. So everything's an opportunity. Nothing's going to be a dead end for you. Just want to reassure you that.
Thank you very much, Lee. Dennis.
I would say do not rule out the trades. I don't know the last time anyone has tried to get a plumber to their home, or an electrician or a carpenter, but if you could get them there, you probably paid them pretty well to have them. They have good paying jobs, and I would definitely not rule out the trades. I've been at this for 40 years. I still love every day coming into work, and I would recommend it for anyone who likes anything to do with construction because the opportunities are endless.
Thank you, Dennis. Octavie.
Be to start early, start the process early. And also, I know it's very stressful, but try to enjoy the process as much as you can. And something's gonna work out, you know, something's always something, it's just going to work out, but try to enjoy the process, but start early. That's my advice.
Thank you, Octavie. Mark.
Yes, sir. So the harsh reality of joining the Air Guard is what I found over the last 3 years is that there are a lot of medical requirements and qualifications that people can potentially get disqualified for. That's the harsh reality. And nothing is more heartbreaking than having a high school senior who's finishing up their high school year saying, I want to join the military, and for some reason they can't. It's very heartbreaking to me. So what I encourage every student is to find out as early as possible. We can talk to you as early as 17 through a series of questions of 10 minutes or so. We can normally determine if you're eligible or not. So try to make those contacts as early as possible so you can see either that this is a possible option or you can potentially eliminate this as an option.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. Connor.
Yeah, so really, I think something you could do tonight after this video session is done is take a good look at your voicemail and your email. You want to make sure that you professionalize this, not only with college counselors, but afterwards when you're looking for employers too. I could probably ask for a show of hands the amount of times anyone in this call has made a phone call and it turned out to be a prank voicemail. As fun as that is, it leaves a lasting impression, especially with any competitive programs out there. So definitely professionalize your voicemail and your email addresses.
Thank you, Connor. And last but not least, Joey. So Joey has a clear disadvantage because there were 13 other pieces of advice. So Joey, let's hear it.
That was some really great stuff. I really miss seeing you guys in person. But one thing that just, I would encourage folks just, thinking of my own college search and working with students and families over the years is to bring your parents along, bring your family along with you in the journey, in the conversation from now forward. And you may be in a family where the people around you are really involved, maybe too involved in the process, and you need to set some boundaries about who's driving this experience and who's making decisions and all the factors that come into play. And you may have family members who don't understand how the process works. My brother and I, Mr. Farah and I, were first generation of college. And for a lot of the conversation, it was me trying to translate to my mom the thing that I read in the view book or the thing that my college counselor told me. So that's an important part of the process, is understanding the role that your family plays and either setting some boundaries for what that is or setting some expectations for their participation. And part of the process too is that they might need to do some things for you in the process. When it comes to maybe financial aid paperwork, if you're applying early decision, they have to sign a contract. But also, they want to make sure that you have the options that are going to be right for you. So bringing them along with you can make a huge difference in your senior year around this time, is having those conversations with your family about what choices you have decided to make for yourself.
Thank you, Joey. I hope everybody wrote down all of the pieces of advice because the quiz is going to be coming up soon. If I could, before I switch back over to my presentation to share the last few pieces of information, if I could have all the panelists turn their camera on just for a minute, because I do like to post on social media, and there we go. We'll wait for Steve Oda. There he is. Perfect. Okay, got it. You guys can shut your cameras off now. Thank you, unless you want to keep them on. Thank you very much. I do want to share final resource. Just a second. A couple more resource slides that I think are important to share with you. Again, all of these links are going to be available to you. And these are links to all of the institutions and organizations that are here tonight with us. And this is and should be your number one stop for more information, is go to the school's website, take a look at all the information that is there. And then when you have questions about the different school or the different organization, the different institution, then you're going to take a look at the resources here, the email addresses. And if you have questions about each one of the organizations or institutions, you can send them an email directly, because they're always willing and they're always able to answer any question that you may have. And it could be something in your mind that you see as a small question, but it's a question that you need answered. These are the experts who joined us here tonight. And if it wasn't for them, then our students would not have that contact. And most of these people we've been working with for many years, and they're always here for Lewiston High School, and we'll continue to partner with them. So thank you all very much for joining us tonight and for continuing to support the Lewiston High School community, Lewiston High School students and families as they navigate the post-secondary planning process. Students and families, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the questions. They were great. And if you do have further questions about Lewiston High School or about the post-secondary planning process, please use the resources that we've shared with you tonight. So thank you all very much.